A 19-year-old ranked 32nd in the world just became the biggest draw in women's tennis. Not Sabalenka. Not Coco Gauff. Not the defending champion. A teenager from the Philippines who doesn't even have a main tour title yet. And by the end of this, you'll understand exactly how that happened, and why the tennis world is completely unprepared for what comes next. Let's start with practice court 6 at Indian Wells. Not a match. A practice session. Fans were pressing through fences of adjacent courts just to catch a glimpse of Eala warming up. Christopher Eubanks, former ATP pro, man who has seen everything this sport throws at crowds, went on broadcast and said organizers need to move her to a bigger court immediately. Not because of a title run. Not because of a ranking. Because of a safety concern. That is where we are right now. But to understand California, you have to go back 2 weeks. Dubai. The Dubai Tennis Championships. Tournament director Sulla Taliq, a man who has run that event since 2019, who has hosted world number ones and defending Grand Slam champions, sat down after the tournament and said something that stopped people cold. Every single match involving Eala was completely sold out. Not well attended. Gone. 0 tickets left. His exact words, people were desperately trying to get in and there was nothing available. Then he added the line that matters. In his entire tenure running that tournament, he had never witnessed anything like it. A player ranked outside the top 30. Unprecedented scenes. That's the gap we're talking about. Here's where it gets interesting. While fans were losing their minds outside the venue, Eala was inside dismantling world number 7 Jasmine Paolini of Italy. Her first top 10 win of 2026. Then she pushed all the way to the quarterfinals before falling to world number 4 Coco Gauff, 6-0, 6-2. The scoreline looks lopsided. But the journey to get there? That told a completely different story. She arrived in California with a 10-6 record for the year. Semi-finals in Auckland. Quarterfinals in Dubai. A career-high ranking of 31. Enough to earn her first ever seeding, and her first ever first-round bye, at a WTA 1000 event. She wasn't even in the Indian Wells draw last year. Now she's seeded. And the tournament's own website is calling her one of tennis's most delightfully unkept secrets. That ship has sailed. California has the largest Filipino population in the entire United States. Close to 2 million people. They didn't need to travel. They were already there. Already mobilized. Already descending on the Indian Wells tennis garden with energy the ground staff simply was not ready for. Broadcast analysts put the question out live on air, could Eala already be the biggest draw in women's tennis globally right now? The other analyst didn't hedge. Standing room only in Australia. Sold out in Dubai. Insane atmosphere everywhere she goes. One of them compared her to Carlos Alcaraz on the men's side last year in Miami. Then corrected himself. It's bigger than Alcaraz. So who else noticed? Martina Navratilova. 18 Grand Slam singles titles. Back-to-back Indian Wells titles at age 33 and 34. 5 decades of watching this sport evolve from Chrissy Evert to Steffi Graf to Serena Williams. When her name came up in the WTA's official Sunshine Swing preview, Navratilova laughed before she even started talking. That laugh is not dismissive. Anyone who follows her knows what it means. She called Eala crafty. She flagged her left-handedness as a genuine tactical weapon. She said her variety causes problems in a way that is genuinely difficult to prepare for. Then she got direct. The serve. That is the ceiling right now. Navratilova said Eala needs a bigger serve with more kick, and acknowledged her slight build makes it physically harder to generate the pace that top 10 players use to control matches. Her exact framing, beef up a little and punch up that serve. Here's what that actually means. She didn't question the shot selection. She didn't raise concerns about movement, mentality, or competing against elite players. She flagged one specific technical gap. 1. That tells you everything about what Navratilova thinks of everything else. But she didn't stop at Eala. In the same interview, Navratilova warned Sabalenka, Swiatek, and Gauff directly. The circuit is changing around them. A new generation has arrived that studies opponents tactically, has clarity of action, and no longer walks onto court intimidated by big names. That is a structural shift in women's tennis. Not a storyline. Not a feel-good moment. A shift. Now think about the pressure sitting underneath all of this. Eala is not just trying to win matches this week. She's entering Indian Wells with Miami immediately after, and Miami is where she made her stunning semi-final run in 2025, beating Grand Slam champions Madison Keys and Yelena Ostapenko. Those are points she has to defend. If Indian Wells falls short, the pressure heading into Miami compounds. If she goes deep here, she could break into the top 20 for the first time in her career. The stakes on court are as high as the chaos off it. Her path through the draw is not easy. It never is. Win her opener against Ukraine's Diana Yastremska, a player she beat 6-1, 6-2 at Eastbourne last year, and a potential third-round rematch with Coco Gauff opens up. The same Gauff who beat her 6-0, 6-2 in Dubai. Beyond that, Paolini as a possible quarterfinal opponent. The same Paolini she already beat in Dubai. The bracket is not kind. But it is not impossible. And Eala has already shown this season she can compete with the best players in the world on the biggest stages. Here's the one thing to take away from all of this. Last year, Indian Wells set an all-time attendance record. 54,268 fans across 15 days. Eala wasn't even in the draw. Eala wasn't even in the draw. She's here now. Seated. With 2 million Filipinos in the state already. With sold-out venues following her from continent to continent. With Martina Navratilova mapping her path to the top and a former ATP pro calling for bigger courts over a safety concern. All of that. Ranked 32nd. No tour title. 19 years old. The question was never whether Eala could become a star. The question is whether the sport is ready for what she's about to become. Drop your prediction below, quarterfinal, semi-final, or something nobody's expecting. Let's see who gets it right.